back in 2004, 2005, there was a group of safety advocates which came to the Congress about the particular problem of vehicle backover. It was lots of parents of young children that were driving large SUVs and had the unfortunate circumstance of backing over and killing their own toddlers, their own 2-, 3-year-old children. And I remember one meeting in particular, there was about 8 or 9 young parents. And the meeting was about 3 to 4 hours long of them talking about their experiences of going to work, being rushed, not seeing clearly, and their child excited to see them running out or not really knowing where the child exactly was. And the worst experience that probably any human being can imagine is being responsible for the death of your own child. I have to admit, after that meeting, I've been in a lot of meetings as a Senate staffer. After that one, I went back to my desk and I cried. And I cried for a long time. And I know a lot of members of Congress met with these same folks and had the same experiences. And that began the efforts which turned into the Cameron Branson Kids Traffic Safety Act. And took another couple of years. There were studies that were initiated as part of the highway bill. And yes, and Paul, I agree, safety was a mouthful and very confusing. Actually, there's a good story about the name of that bill too, but that's for another place, another time. But after some initial studies, getting data from non-traffic areas, having NHTSA do a technology study, it all culminated in the passage of this piece of legislation in 2007. And I was fortunate to be one of the staffers that participated in the drafting of that bill. The interesting piece of this is I would have never anticipated being in the position where I am today, being administrator of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, when the agency is about to promulgate the final regulations regarding backover and rearward visibility as part of Cameron Branson. Of all that pretext, I want to sort of talk to you about a couple of experiences with the technology. Probably in 2006, I was fortunate enough to be brought up here to see GM and Ford and Chrysler proving ground, seeing technologies, and one of them, I'll never forget, it was a demonstration done by GM about rear visibility and cameras. And back in 2006, I will have to admit the technology was not very promising. There was lots of issues, lots of false positives. You couldn't track a running child or a child on a bicycle with any real accuracy. And the promise that, I think a lot of people felt about the Cameron Branson Act may not have come to pass in a really successful way. And I know I walked away from that demonstration a little disheartened, thinking that will there be an opportunity to create a performance standard that actually the market and technology could meet. So, brings me to yesterday. I had the opportunity to be hosted at Delphi by Andy Brown and his team. And I got to see several promising new safety technologies and their partnerships with a lot of the OEMs in terms of what they're working on. And one of them was this fantastic camera and thermal imaging system, which integrated both the ability to sort of track the inanimate objects, the property, clear camera, incredibly wide vision, but also paired with thermal imaging technology, you got to see the people and track them in a real way, in a very effective way. And I was sitting there yesterday thinking, back in 2004, 2005, when the members of Congress, my bosses and the staff, first had the idea of trying to go forward with a performance standard with a hope and a thought that this could be doable, to a point where I thought that I didn't think that, frankly, that there will be a real opportunity for the technology to make it in time for the rule. To seeing what I saw yesterday underscored the promise, the ability, the ingenuity of automotive engineers around the world. Not simply those fantastic folks at Delphi, but all the other component manufacturers around the world. And it is absolutely an awesome experience for me to sort of see where the technology was, where the hope and the promise of consumers and government alike, and now we're on the edge of, frankly, empowering consumers maybe in a few years to never have the problem of rearward visibility ever again. And it's the ingenuity of folks that are members of the society, of engineers around the world that have put forth an incredible amount of effort. It's the promise of how government should work collaboratively and thoughtfully, and how creative people like yourselves have made something which frankly was a hope as a piece of legislation become reality. And it was really touching to me. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. I just want to give you all the applause personally. That was just fantastic. That's always my hope of how safety, technology, regulation, innovation, and competition should happen. And it's always time for new thinking in this area, time for solutions such as the ones I was just talking about, and a broad approach to safety issues. And we have a long way to go, a lot of effort to expend, and a lot of promise. On a separate note, the President has set the pace and the example for the use of technology in safety and livability. He has promised a transformative U.S. transportation policy that improves public health, fosters safety, livable communities, creates infrastructure repair opportunities, and economic competitiveness, all while achieving environmental sustainability. The first Livable Communities Initiative, developed by the Department of Transportation in coordination with the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Environmental Protection Agency, will measurably enhance the quality of life of workers and communities across America. This translates into federal support for more transportation choices, more public transportation, more commercial and residential development around hubs. That includes roads, rail, transit, and safer passage for pedestrians and bicyclists. In March, the Secretary announced a new policy on bicycle and pedestrian safety that clearly states that every transportation agency in this country, including DOT, has a responsibility to improve conditions and opportunities for walking and bicycling, and to integrate these modes into transportation systems. The department is actively promoting this endeavor to use pedestrianism and bicycling to reduce congestion, pollution, and the reliance on foreign oil, and to improve health around America. As with motor vehicle transportation, we are making every effort to promote pedestrian safety at NHTSA and DOT-wide. To support these efforts, we have awarded major demonstration projects to New Mexico, North Carolina, Florida, and Chicago to implement comprehensive pedestrian safety along infrastructure improvements and contain strong education and enforcement components over the next 3 years. We hope that these projects will serve as a model for every state, city, and locality across the country. Our actions must reflect that we are part of the global community. Not only are we all connected, but we see that certain ideas and concepts are spreading, such as the notion of environmentalism and little communities. And this leads directly to how we power our cars and trucks. We want our vehicles to be as fuel efficient as possible. The countries around the world move to address global climate change and reduce energy consumption. We pushed for the development of aggressive but achievable fuel economy and greenhouse gas emission standards for motor vehicles. NHTSA, along with our partners at the Environmental Protection Agency, have delivered on President Obama's call for a strong and coordinated national policy for fuel economy and greenhouse gas emissions. And we did so in a way that does not